Okay.
Have you seen that translation going around? This is the same stuff that my teacher Jin Hao Chin told me probably like back in 1997 because he translated a lot of stuff too. So now there's a translation going around about how Yang Ban Hao had a steel spear that was probably like um 18 kilograms. Hao Wei Zin had one that was 40 kilograms, and they would do pole shaking. Now, I think that's BS when it comes to the pole shaking. How are you gonna shake a steel weapon? I
I've
think
got
maybe they're
one.
doing like,
I've got one. I'll show you.
okay, is that metal?
Oh yeah.
How heavy is that?
You can't shake it. You can't shake it. It's too heavy.
I have one kind of like that. Mine's 8 kilograms,
It's or probably 14 or 15 kilos, 30
but
pounds.
it doesn't really shake though, does it?
You can't shake it. It's too heavy.
Yeah, you can't
It's
shake
too
it.
solid.
I don't see where this information is a mistranslation or something.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I have one 8 kilograms. I weighed it just to double check, and
I
so
saw
that's
the
pretty much
article.
half the one of Young Ban Ho. I think maybe they're doing like curls or just punch outs or, you
No.
know, I
Um,
can't see that Lana Za is shaking.
you need to oil your hands for one, light oil, or
Mm-hmm,
you can't get the drive. You remember how I showed you the
mm-hmm.
slow movements working into your pole? Okay.
Right.
You need to do this like Tai Chi, long extension, the turning, the up. That wasn't a good
2 seconds
indication.
out, 2 seconds in.
My hands are sticky. I can't slide it. You need to
Yeah.
lubricate it slightly. Um, some of this is definitely true. Sifu, we talked about this. This is why I have it. You've seen my steel balls.
You're
Well,
still punching bags.
yeah, well, you don't punch them either. So the
You're
one I had
still.
at 80 pounds, the other one, the
Mhm,
big one, which is about 120 kilo, that's full of water. It's a gas tank.
mhm.
It's an 80-liter tank. Um, Definitely you practice, but apart from maybe Kaya, I have not been able to teach anyone this. It is too dangerous. You get yourself destroyed, your hands, your fingers. Um,
Mhm.
Pushing a sandbag is not like pushing a steel ball. It's like a wrecking.
Mhm.
Um, I just posted there was quandals in the back of Yang Chan's house. They were around 10 kilos, and there was definitely weights at Yang Chan's house. So the Chinese, the concrete weights that they have with the bar in the
Are you
middle,
talking about
that's
those big
that's
blocks that they pick up? They pick up those big blocks like
exactly
that.
exactly.
Yeah, that was like a test with the Chinese government or something, wasn't it? Like you had to do that for a scholarly exam or
I don't know.
type of oh yeah, I was reading about it. A couple people have written about those stone blocks.
Sifu told me about not sand, rice bags. The rice bag is 100 pounds, 50 kilos. Yeah. And they had those hanging up. So there wasn't sand, it was rice, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Um,
Mhm,
that he did squatting with the rice bag on his shoulders and two rice bags on his shoulders. So about
mhm,
200 pounds, which is, I don't think it's anything grand. It's nothing more than a lot of sports people do. You know, squatting your own body weight is only puts you in the top 5% of people. You squatting twice your body weight puts you in the top 1%. And this is an important subject, really is, and it's not being covered properly in Tai Chi. Is that at the end of the day, muscle mass equals longevity, and that we should be focused on being soft, being really connected, but we also need to be focused on being strong. Okay, it's really, really important for your health and your longevity. And possibly some of the reason as the masters get older, they keep emphasizing softness because they've lost their physical strength, because too much focus on one aspect of the being instead of being holistic. So that's a really good one. And I did see that post recently about a number of things. So being strong, there's nothing wrong being strong and doing Tai Chi. I think it is more balanced. Yeah.
Did you see that translation of Ma Yuliang story about training in Beijing, where Yang Luchan, he had three main students in Beijing, and how Kuan Yu studied with Yang Luchan and Yang Banhu.
Mhm.
So he's the only one that of those three people that kept going. The other two people were just, they're not, you can't find any information on them to this day.
Mhm.
So Kuan Yu was Wu Kuan Yu's father. I guess he
Right.
was a bannerman in the Beijing military.
Yep.
And so he apparently he got the neutralizing skill that was both hard and soft from Yang Luchan. And
Yep.
so that went to his son
Mhm.
and their fam and the Wu style.
Okay. Interesting.
So those are outsiders. So that was the takeaway from that article. They did talk about some other interesting historical things.
Mhm.
Um, but did you see that translation that was going around? It
No,
was
I
on a
didn't
few
see that
pages.
one. I did briefly
I'll
skim
send it to you.
one with the weights. The other thing that was really interesting, and definitely I've done this myself, I've been fortunate enough to have some really big men as long-term students. Tally, Andrew, Micaiah. We had another guy, Jason. He was 280 pounds, 6'4", big man. Sifu was the same. He would get the biggest young men, the strongest young men, and keep them close to train with. You need to use the physicality of the other person, and you have to build. And we've done some of this training together. You need to use my strength to build your strength. Same as you need to use my softness to build your softness. Okay, my sensitivity to build your sensitivity. And it's no different to what they do in wrestling. It's no different to what they do in sumo. It's no different to what they're doing in jiu-jitsu. Last time, I met some of the students of Hanjin Mi, and some of these guys are enormous. 6'6", 6'8", 250, 300 pounds. These were like enormous men.
That's a
And
big that's a big thing because the guys in Yangyan, those country boys are a lot different than when Yang Fu started teaching these other martial arts in the city. I mean, people don't understand that what's going on in Yangyan is a lot different than what was going on in Beijing and Shanghai.
there's two factors about that. So with Han Jianming, he was training these big boys. None of these big boys were doing Shaolin or wrestling. They were there working with him, working together. And that was in Yang Chan's house. And the other point is that these country boys from 200 years ago, they were working in the fields. They were pulling carts that had a couple of tons of sorghum or rice or hay. They were working with the bullocks, the cows, with pigs. They were working with animals, wrestling animals, things like this. And there's a couple of famous stories about Yang Chan, one with a spear, hooking the guy with a spear and throwing him on the roof of a house. And I think
During a
that
fire or something.
yes, that physicality of being a country man or country boy and
Mhm.
working on the farm. When you go to the city and then all your students are scholars, what's going to happen?
Mhm.
So,
I have to say, Rocky 3. Remember, he was fighting the Russian guy. He had to go to the farm. He started doing some farm work. Let's shovel some hay.
yeah, yeah.
Rocco, go Rocco! New
Mm,
York.
mm.
No, Philly. He's Philly.